Welcome back, everyone. Think back a few years or decades. What did you picture the year 2020 being like? Believe it or not, there have been some pretty wild, wacky predictions about the 21st century all throughout history. Cara is giving us a look at them right now in our segment that we call Things to Care About.
Welcome to 2020. I've always wanted to do
that was good, Cara.
Thank you.
Welcome
really
to
2020.
2020.
The year, not the show.
Yes.
Yes.
But you said it just perfect.
Okay, thank you.
2020.
2020.
Okay, what did you find? I'm fascinated now.
Some real wacky things like we teased, okay? So this is very interesting because at one point in time, people seriously thought that these things were going to happen when we reach the 21st century. Should we get into them?
Let's do it.
Okay, here are some predictions that thankfully did not come true. All right, the first one is that we will live in flying houses.
Ooh, that would be so fun.
In 1966, inventor Arthur C. Clarke, who actually co-wrote the screenplay for 2001, A Space Odyssey, in fact believed that the houses of the future would have nothing keeping them on the ground and that it would be able to move to anywhere on a whim. Now that is just silly, Mr. Clarke. There's a thing called gravity. What, is it just going to dissipate?
I don't know. What about that one movie Up where, wasn't it by balloons?
Well, that was a bunch of balloons.
But
that is also silly.
Oh, I love that movie. But side note, who would, wow, think about air traffic control for that. I mean, that would be, yes.
That would be crazy.
Wouldn't it be great if you could like hop over and see your neighbors as they're mid-flight?
Sure. Yeah.
You would do that with a little jet propeller
I can
on
tell
the back.
You must have been friends with Mr. Clarke.
I was,
You guys are coming up with all these silly
You know what?
things.
I like that.
Yeah.
He was using his imagination.
He was. It
Hey.
didn't come true, though. We are still firmly planted on the ground. Most of us, anyway.
Most of us are, yes.
Okay.
Indeed.
The next one's very interesting. I wouldn't be able to spell my name without it. The letters C, X, and Q would be ditched from the alphabet. In 1900, Ladies' Home Journal asked Smithsonian curator, so you know he's smart, John Elfrith Watkins Jr. about his guesses for the 21st century. He considered that those letters were extraneous, Q, X, and C, and he boldly predicted that by the 2000s there will be no more C, X, or Q in our everyday alphabet.
I can see Q and X, but C? C?
They will be abandoned, he said. Instead, Watkins wrote that we'd be spelling mostly by sound and would only communicate with condensed words, expressing condensed ideas. You know what this list reminds me of? I think some people just like to hear themselves talk.
Exactly. And by the way, how would we spell condensed?
Right.
Without C.
We wouldn't. We would just think it. And my name would be Era.
That's right. And I would be Histine.
You'd be Histine.
It does not have a ring to it.
Christine and Era's show.
Right. That's right. You know, it wouldn't be good.
The next 3 minutes.
Ooh,
okay.
I peeked ahead. I like this.
You like this one? Okay.
Well,
we will have, the next prediction was that we will have telepathy. How do you say it? Telepathy? Telepathy?
Yes.
Okay, telepathy, and teleportation. So technology expert Michael J. O'Farrell predicted in his 2014 book that 2020 would be the dawn of the nanomobility era. He thought that we would be able to both read people's minds and teleport wherever we wanted. He also predicted that this would be commonplace by 2040.
Now, nanotechnology, Evie Delaney from the Nouveau Clinic just talked about that. Maybe we are entering
NASA thought of it.
The phase
so you know it's good.
of nanotechnology. I mean, we are. We're there.
I can tell what you're thinking right now.
I bet you. What am I thinking, Karen?
I don't know.
Come on.
I can't. It's a family show.
Okay.
Okay. The next one
fun.
is, this is blasphemous, but somebody said we'll all stop drinking coffee and tea. That's crazy. In 1937, Nikola Tesla predicted that within a century, coffee, tea, and tobacco will be no longer in vogue. He didn't meet a tired mom, did he? The abolition of stimulants will not come about forcibly, he wrote. It will simply be no longer fashionable to poison the system with those harmful ingredients.
What? Poison the system?
Well, you know, he obviously wasn't around to hear all the studies that come out every other day about how caffeine is good for us and then it's bad for us and then it's good for us and then it's bad for us.
Green tea and you know, coffee is good within reason.
Sure.
It was funny though, because I never drank tea. I would like to incorporate more green tea. And out of the blue, Jim came down. It was Saturday, but like around 6 where I might be having a glass of wine.
Okay.
And he came down, we were about to watch a movie and he was like, I found some tea. And I went, no. I was like, Who are we right now? I don't.
Oh, did
it
he have
was
a crumpet?
nice. It didn't, but it was delicious. It had probably been in the
lovely
pantry
idea.
for several years.
I
But
just have this beautiful picture of Tim with a platter of crumpets and tea.
Yes, he just was like, "Here's some tea." I was
That's
like,
nice.
"Can we not
Thanks.
drink wine tonight?" I'm
Sure.
just kidding. It was delicious.
It was. Now, tobacco, though, on the other hand, not having as good of a decade as tea. Tobacco is not really in vogue anymore, I don't
No,
think.
it is not.
It's not, no.
No.
So he was correct on that one.
Yes.
All right, this next one's a little far out. We'll be wearing antenna hats and disposable socks. I mean, socks are
Hold on,
kind of disposable.
antenna hats and disposable
Antenna
socks.
hats and
Okay.
disposable socks.
Interesting.
Yep.
All
For
right.
a 1939 issue of British Vogue, product designer Gilbert Rode imagined that by 2020, we would have banished buttons, pockets, collars,
Not pockets.
ties,
Okay,
and
I see
that
ties.
men would revolt against shaving. All right.
Oh, I see a few men in here.
This is what he said, and I quote, "His hat will be an antenna snatching radio out of the ether. His socks, disposable."
Wow.
That's a direct quote from that guy, Tess.
I mean, it was interesting that he went, like I was getting the antenna, the hat,
Sure.
but then he just went to the socks. It seemed like
Right. He must have had really smelly feet. Is what
maybe
that tells me.
maybe so. So he was like, let's
He's
just
like, let's just throw them
do
away.
Do away
Yeah.
with them.
You know, sometimes when you have like a really dirty dish, you just throw it away.
You do?
No,
No,
I
not
don't do
really.
it.
Actually, I don't care.
But listen, when my parents owned a restaurant, you know, they found out that some busboys who just didn't want, and women who didn't want to wash dishes, they would just chuck them in the trash,
'Cause it was
which
too
I
much
found
work to
hilarious
get-
because
yes.
I'm like, what? I never thought of
Young
that.
people
Brilliant.
with no concept, no concept of a dollar. They're like,
Yes.
this is too
Right,
dirty.
let's throw 'em in the
Okay,
trash.
coming up
Okay.
next, we're going to take one last look at the historic Herndon Home Museum. Chesley has been there all morning long. He's going to share some more details about one of Atlanta's influential Black leaders. Oh, look at that room. You don't want to miss it.